guys? Ash and Saph back at you in Dragonheir Silent Gods. Thank you, Dragonheir Silent Gods, for making this channel possible today. Saph, how you doing, man? What's up?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm really excited to talk about the best epic that anyone can get with a very small purchase.
Yeah, dude, we talked about this in our buyer's guide. You guys should check that out, but I learned a ton in that video. Thanks again for walking us through everything that you could possibly buy if you're so inclined in this game. I did go ahead and we took Saph's advice, and on our account, we made the purchases that we recommended, right? And I think that's pretty much all we're gonna buy here, Saph. Is that you think that's a good plan?
Yeah, I think so, especially for this first season. I think once you've like the battle pass might change month on month, but you kind of like splurge early on, and then you deal with what you've got, right? Unless you absolutely need to for an event or something of that nature, which I never really recommend because you can plan ahead. So yeah, we're pretty much good to go now for the next 3 months, which is really exciting.
Absolutely, and I have to give a shout to the viewers out there, man. I mean, so the channel's picking up a little bit, which is awesome because we haven't promoted it at all. You know, like I think I mentioned it in one video, and you mentioned it in your Discord. So shout out to you guys who are joining us on our Dragonheir Season 1, reliving the magic journey. Me for the first time, Saph for the second time. Made some progress as well on the account. So we're starting an alliance. We're doing our first summoning video as well. A lot to be excited about the coming week or two here on the channel. But today, this is a really cool part of the game, dude. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We talked about the $1 epic chest, right? Where you can get any epic in the game for $1 one-time purchase. And as part of the Walker trails, at level 10 on the free track, you get any rare in the game as well as a consumable. So now it's time to make some decisions. Who are we going to choose for our $1 epic and rare in the game?
Exactly. I mean, for most games, most people would be like, oh, it's only a rare champion. How, like, uninteresting. Honestly, the rares in this game, some of them are so great to get.
Okay.
So that's equally as valuable. And sometimes you just really want to get a head start. So
let's start with a rare, then, right?
Yeah, let's start with the rare. I think, honestly, some of these rares are so good.
Okay.
One in particular, which we
who's in the combo? Give us a top three, but start with three. Start with three.
The number one, probably, that most people maybe they don't know, maybe they do, is Sigrid. Of course, it is Sigrid.
Okay.
She is.
So she's the obvious choice.
She's probably the best rare that you can get. Not the only good rare, but the best one. And the reason why is just because you put it with a defense champion, you put it with a debuffer champion, and she just goes into this like god tier damage dealer because of her
she's support
ability.
But insane damage from a support, which is weird.
Her ultimate ability is where it really is at, because what she will do is she will deal poison damage to a single target, but she will also target every enemy under a debuff, and she does an attack penalty too, and a healing prohibition. And whenever she kills an enemy, her passive gives her 25% of her ultimate energy back. So she's just like pumping out ultimate damages all the time.
Venomous blasts.
Yeah, and attack penalty is like the most important debuff for many teams. So having someone who can just apply 100% chance, 75%, 100% chance, 25% penalty, it's solid. So absolutely probably the number one rare if you don't have it.
Does the elemental affinity matter when making this selection? The reason I ask is because we have now the free legendary as well, who's you know, should we be trying to even consider that in any of these choices or no?
I think Sigrid will probably beat some of the legendaries in certain contents, specifically like goblins. She is super good in places like Goblin.
Okay.
Very good in some of the boss scenarios where you absolutely need like that attack penalty. So she probably, even though the current effect, the current elemental matchup is not necrosis time to what you get as a login, she's probably still someone you'd absolutely think, maybe I should get that.
Is there anybody else in even consideration here, or is it like, are we talking about the Kale starter in Raid? You know?
No, there's actually a couple of others.
Okay.
There's also Arena, which I think is a little bit further down the list. There we go, Arena. Arena's also a very solid damage dealer. For some reason, they say support. They're actually a really solid damage dealer. The reason why she's super good is she has a very good DPS output with her abilities. She will keep spamming lots of different lightning bolts on her passive ability. If you just bring up the passive ability there you go. So she'll get a shield to someone, and then I think it's the ultimate ability. She just like kind of keeps pinging lightning bolts to everyone. She can also attack penalty as well. So you basically get this very good, very similar to Sigrid, where you get an AoE attack penalty. You get lots of utility with her. For a rare champion, it's a lot of bang for buck, absolutely. And you'll be surprised how much damage that Arena will just output as a support champion. constantly pinging damage everywhere.
So you're basically, the decision here is if you go Arena, you're looking for the shield plus the damage, and that's kind of the benefit for the most part. And Sigrid is more of just like the all-out just damage.
Yeah, so Arena's more of a targeted AoE in the sense that she will AoE all the time on that ultimate ability, whereas Sigrid will only ever do single target and then all debuffed enemy. So there's a bit more setup with Sigrid. You need to have someone that can debuff consistently. Otherwise, she's just going to ping single target damage, where Arena will always AoE. Arena's much more of a, an AoE damage consistency without less setup, and also lightning. So there's a different elemental matchup there. But Sigrid will probably be someone you go lean more towards because she also has heal reduction. And there is another one as well, which I would offend people if I didn't mention, which is Usha. Which is further down. Usha over there on the left. Usha is very good if you bring a Frost team. She's a Frost archetype. So when she attacks with her ultimate ability, she will do a lot more damage if an enemy is under Frost. You can see it's doing double the damage to any enemy inflicted with Frost, which is
so you can build like a Frost team around her, and she'll be like a crazy DPS carry.
Absolutely. She will hard carry you in lots of different content areas if you bring Frost with her. She kind of needs a bit more setup, which is what you see with a lot of these archetypes, right? You can't just put a Frost champion in and expect it to succeed. You want to bring someone like a Rava, someone who can apply the Frost for her, and then she will just clear waves for you, very similar to the other champions. So
if you get lucky and get some good Frost heroes, like that would probably, inform your decision and maybe take a chance here on Usha over the other two.
Absolutely, yeah. If you have someone like Rava, Epic, make this like vortex where it constantly applies Frost, absolutely a great option for people there. Well, there are a lot of very good rares in here as well for very specific tasks. Like, for example, we've already owned Hexandra, very good healer, one of the better poison healers in the game. There's also a couple of very good boss-specific heroes here in terms of, I think Grover is exceptionally good into the Grave of Curse because of his ultimate ability. Little Grover is great at removing buffs, which is what you need to do in Grave of Curse. His ultimate ability will just constantly remove buffs.
Looks like little Saph. It looks like you as a little kid, you know?
I don't know. He's got more hair than me.
Look at you, so young and happy. Where do the years go?
He does have more hair than me here.
As a little kid, I said.
The joys of getting old. Yeah.
Look, he's bald in the back. There we go. But okay.
Style.
I know, man. I know.
But he is exceptionally good for Curse. Because of his ultimate ability. His ultimate ability is arguably better than most epics in the game, as crazy as it sounds, because the Grave of Curse puts up attack buff, and if you don't get rid of those attack buffs, it really hurts your team. He will come in and he will remove 2 buffs every single time. So good. And he doesn't even require scrolling for that. So it's really cool.
So are we going to go chalk here and just go with Sigrid then? Or how are we going to take a chance and go a little bit off the beaten path here? What do you think?
I would always advise people to go Sigrid.
Okay.
It's too good a hero. And the one thing I will say is you will get all of these rares. It's not like this one's not a major decision. You will eventually collect all these rares. There's no dupe system in this game. So once you get it once, you get it for life. So you will get them all eventually. It's just, do you want to accelerate your progress to a very specific point, which is, I think, what you do.
Okay, that's good. That's good because we're super early game. Let's just take the hero that's going to help us out, right? That we know we're going to get a bunch of immediate value from. All right, now it's the more difficult part of the video, Saph.
Yeah.
Walk us through our choices. I remember the 3 that we spoke about a little bit, right on the was it Irma one of them? Or am I making that up?
So it really depends on what you get in your first summons. I would suggest for a lot of players, purely because there are so many extremely good epics, but it can be sometimes infuriating. I've been playing my main account in season 3 for like 6 months. 6 months I've been playing it, and I still don't have one of these epics, and it's infuriating because it's a really key one. Yeah. So I would suggest like people look at making sure that you pair it against what you had in your first summons, not necessarily the free log in the first summons. The one that a lot of people will probably suggest is Garius. He's on the screen right now. This guy is an absolute monster, especially if you get a unique legendary
looks so
artifact.
Cool, man.
He is a monster. He does look amazing. Fair play to the developers. The artwork in Dragonheir is top tier. So cool. He's like a rusted green golem.
I know. He's like Shemnath's husband or something. He's very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So what? Okay. What does he do?
well, specifically, if you ever get a duplicate legendary, then you can get an artifact called the Gatekeeper Staff. And when you pair the Gatekeeper Staff with Garrus, he's the most broken experience you will experience in this game. What's really cool about him is his passive. Whenever he gets attacked, he will stack his defense. So he's a defense-based tank. So every single time he gets attacked, he can gain a stack of defense up, and that stacks 20 times, up to a maximum of 40% bonus defense. It immediately makes him one of the more sturdier defense champions in the game. He has like a little knock up here, which is kind of okay, but the big thing is he gets hit recovery, so there's a little bit of self-healing. But what's really makes him like insane is this. This is monstrous.
It's all debuffs from the hero, heals all allies.
Yeah, and one tip for anyone who is looking at a hero, make sure you always hit the details tab, because the details tab will break down exactly how the skill is calculated. So we can see that the heal is based on defense. So the fact that he gets himself 40% more defense, and he's defense-based, and he heals off defense, it makes him a phenomenal tank and healer in one
at
role.
The same time. Got you.
Yeah. And what the Gatekeeper Staff does is any excess healing becomes a shield. So then it makes him into a massive shield champion as well, because the heal is always huge, and you become a shield. So that's
where does
like
he stand as a tank, healer, whatever? Like in the best case scenario, can he stand toe to toe with legendaries as a tank, or does he fall off? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! The best
with Gatekeeper Staff, he becomes probably the best tank in the game.
Well, it's hard to. It's gonna be hard to talk me out of that one, Saph, man. I don't know, dude.
But here's the thing.
Yeah,
it's Dragonheir. So you can't have one hero for everything. This isn't
true.
any Raid Shadow Legends nonsense. This is. You could have tanks for everything. So
all right. So is Horus Australian or Vivek? How do you say his name? Vikuk. Is Vikuk? Are the three that we own? Are any of them like really good?
Yes.
Okay.
Horus is an exceptionally sturdy tank. He's really good because he has a lot of innate damage reduction on his passives and on his ability to reduce. He's also got an attack penalty, which makes him a very sturdy early game to mid game tank.
Nice.
Very good for the fire team. You can put him in front of everything, and he's going to keep himself alive. Very good.
So the fact that he's a tank though, does that kind of gravitate us maybe a little bit away from like should our class that we actually have, should the classes that we have inform who we take?
Well, I always like to pick the absolute edge case of heroes. So like, for example, if you don't have Garrus, well, every team needs a tank, which means at some point the Radiance element matchup is going to need a tank. So I think Fire pairs with Poison at the moment, and there are a couple of good Fire and Poison tanks. Like from a Fire perspective, there's also someone like Isolde, which is more of an off tank. There's also the other recommendation I would have for people from this chest, which is Frubath. Frubath is very similar to Garrus, but a different type of healer. He's right at the top of this list, I think.
I was like, where is he? Where is he?
There he is, hidden away. So Frubath is another type of these like defense-based tank healers. His battle ability, his second ability, is really cool. He will basically put a healing orb, and he will heal everyone continuously around him for a period of time. So I think it lasts for 6 seconds, and he heals everyone for 1 second based on his defense. So you can
another another tanky healer.
Yeah, he's nowhere near as effective as Garrus because it's more of a HPS, right? A heal over time or heal per second. But he's very cool. He also brings attack penalty, which Garrus doesn't bring. And you always want to try and get an attack penalty in your team. It's very important. So,
man. All right.
Threat,
all right. So who else is in the conversation here? Give me like a good nuker or something.
So actually, one that would pair extremely well with your race selection if you pick Sigrid is Voresh.
Okay.
Voresh right on screen there, because what you need for Sigrid is debuffs.
Yes.
And what Voresh does is one of the best epic debuffers in the game. On his ultimate ability, you only have to look at the picture to see exactly what I mean.
Got you. But the entire global effect of inflicting a buff prohibition for 10 seconds. It sounds like a long time. Is it a long time? Is as long as it sounds?
It's about 50% uptime. Average ability is average boss is about 18 seconds. Average recharge of about 20 seconds. So
just out of curiosity, does this game have any extensions, like any extenders of buffs and debuffs, or is that not in this game?
Not really, but the game is very built around skill haste. So you can bring the average, the cooldown of your ability. So you can get artifacts that give you like 100 skill haste or help you recharge your ultimate ability more quickly. So you can't necessarily extend the duration, but you can increase the uptime by basically reducing the abilities cooldown.
Okay, and we'll have a whole video coming out on buffs and debuffs in this game as well. So
yeah,
be on the lookout. And artifacts and gear and everything else. So we got you covered.
But he works really nicely as both a damage dealer because he's got a pretty high base attack there at 1400, and his damage is pretty good because he's attacking all enemies 3 times, and it's 660% multiplier. So it's a pretty good uptime, and it sets up Sigrid perfectly because you basically get Voresh to put out all debuffs, and then Sigrid comes in and one-shots everything.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty compelling 1-2 combo, Saph. In this game, just out of curiosity, what would be like a good, like, you don't have to go through all the stats, but like HP, defense, attack, what is considered good? You know, is like, let's use Voresh as an example. Is he like pretty average across the board, or?
So base attack there, 1428 is not bad. I think like the legendaries hit like the 15 to 1600.
Okay.
But the epics, like for an epic, that's quite high. The defense, anything that's below 1200 is quite a low defense, I would say. Or I think it's about 1012. It's pretty good. His stats across the board here are pretty stable because he's more of a support. But if you like jump out of this and go to something like a Tonalnan, I think is just a little bit above, for example. Like you'll probably see that his base stats see a lot less defense, but a bit more HP.
A lot more HP.
So,
okay, yep.
But normally you're really key like identifying like what their main stat scales off, which is attack. You know, here in this instance, like he's a pretty cool. He's a great option if you wanted like someone to pair with the legendary you get for free, Eric. He works really nicely with Eric because they're both wild champions.
All right.
In there, but there's so many cool epics. Like for example, Adolphus is another amazing epic in here. He's a massive shield champion, and his healing and shield output is pretty good. So he'll heal anyone who's already got a shield. So, and his shield here is massive, and he uses 2 stats to basically scale it, but it's a really big shield.
That's cool. That he looks cool. I mean, like I said, every single hero looks cool in this game. All right, man. I think it's decision time, Saph, man.
It's decision time, isn't it?
I'm sure there's a bunch that are good that we didn't talk about as well, but I mean, I have a lean. Do you?
I am torn between 3. One of them I didn't actually mention, which is Zaloth, right next to Voresh, but Zaloth's also a fan favorite because it gives you crowd control. On the ultimate and some healing, right? You get silence, you have recharging penalty, and you also get like an AoE vortex on the end there, which does quite a lot of damage. It's better paired when you have the legendary version of this hero. It's called Glende. But I'm kind of like Voresh or Garrus. Honestly, I'm torn.
Those are the 2 that I also agree with, right? Because Voresh because of the pairing with Sigrid, right? And
and Garrus because he's just
he looks so cool, man. I mean, I know I shouldn't go by looks.
So many teams. It's
everything that you said. It seems like almost a no-brainer. And here, I feel like the stakes are quite a bit higher than they were on the rare, because it's like we could, to your point, we could be playing, you know, all season and not get this guy otherwise. So maybe we should just go with Garrus. What do you think? I kind of think Garrus. I mean, let's go chalk here, I feel like. What do you think?
Let's do it. Let's lock in the Garrus.
We're going with the defense. We're going with the tank healer. In the beginning of the game, I guess my final question, I guess, for the vid here is, should you try to err on the side of damage and just try to blow past content in the beginning, in the early game of Dragonheir, or should you try to build like well-constructed, robust teams like you would in the mid or the end game? Because some of these games you can just kind of nuke your way through in the beginning, you know?
Yeah, so I think some of the earlier content, you can almost like abuse the system a little bit. Once you start building teams properly, like a Vortex team and like a dungeon team, with the exception of Goblin, you do need to start having more of a structured team around you. So it's like having a tank, a healer, some utility. Like you need that attack penalty in there. You need to be able to survive. Those are things become more important as you build content pieces. But just adventure, normally you can get away with like having someone be the upfront tank and then a couple of damage dealers. Goblin is different because Goblin is all about AoE damage.
All right.
Kind of just like, it doesn't really hurt you. But if you can't kill them quick enough, then you don't win on the time trial aspect.
Okay. Well, dude, I'm thrilled, man. I'm thrilled. You know, we're not here to get, again, I just feel like I repeat this every video, but we're not trying to get anybody to spend any money. But if you can afford £1, $1, €1, then maybe join us with Garius, you know, or whoever you want to. I feel like Saph did a great job breaking down some of the most wanted or popular heroes in both Epic and Rare. Saph, thanks again, man, for all your knowledge. I'm pumped, dude. We've both been playing the account, you know, throughout the week, and I would feel like we're making some decent progress. Like, we're not like trying to blow through this. We're trying to like have some fun and learn as we go, but hopefully the viewers are as well. Any final thoughts on your end, man?
No, I'm really excited now because we've got the foundations of some of our first teams. So the next step now is really like building out our first heroes and actually like figuring out, you know, who's going to be taking the lead, getting some elemental matchups. I'm really curious to see how effective our Necrosis legendaries are going to be as well, because I personally have Sharlak, but I don't have I can't say his name,
Larry.
We're gonna call him Larry. We're gonna call him Larry from now on.
Larry.
I don't have Larry.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited too, man. He looks amazing, so we'll see. Got a little bit of Fire Knight vibe going on, man. I feel like.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of the. You ever seen the Avengers? The dude they sent to planet Earth on the first. Not the Avengers, sorry. Thor. They send to planet Earth from Thor. That kind of
don't judge. I haven't
beams.
seen Thor. Don't judge. But okay, I'm sure the viewers don't judge too much. I'm really behind. When you said Avengers, I'm like, that's the one I've seen. The one super here.
Thor was like 15 years. That is super
I know.
You have to educate it. Anyway, we're going off on a tangent.
You can shame me in the comments below, guys. Saph, we'll see you in the next one, man. We got a summoning coming up next, so you're not gonna want to miss it. Subscribe here, and thanks again to Dragonheir for sponsoring this channel and this video. Much love, and as always, take care, guys.